Might take a peek in my self-pity to realize it's selfishness for the meek. Just take these pills and makes it better, but withdrawals will make you seize up and tweak. You gotta buy it every month. We change the brand, it's more expensive this week. I'll hold my chin up, keep this grin up like my mother. She can worry like me. But if I have you, life is worth it. Love is more than a contagious disease. I think of you, I think of me. A family, is this another pipe dream? But if these dreams mean anything, I'm gonna think whatever I want to think. I just can't convince myself to look. Why can't I be strong in the place where you read your books? I just can't rely on happenstance. Didn't say goodbye before you died. I should have took that chance. But you'll never leave me. No, my heart is bleeding, and I know this feeling's not fleeting. Your hugs were the best thing, just wrapped up in your strength. I'd give up to be there right now. I just want you back, we all want that. I just wish that you hadn't forgotten. I hate this disease, I hate human beings. We fall apart before we get broken. I just can't believe you're not here with me. We should be out back sitting underneath that willow tree. Talk and I'd be listening. I didn't take the time to read your mind before you forgot me. Okay. But you'll never leave me. No, my heart is bleeding, and I know this feeling's not fleeting. Your hugs were the best thing, just wrapped up in your strength. I'd give up to be there right now. I just want you back. We all want that. I just wish that you hadn't forgotten. I hate this disease, I hate human beings. We fall apart before we get broken. Lock myself in my room to listen to voices recorded.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome to SchuBros Unfiltered. To my other side, I got my brother Kyle coming to us live. And in there, center screen, we got the big guy coming with us along for the ride tonight. Kyle, can I say he's gonna ride the trail?
Sure. I
mean,
don't care. That's not our thing, but sure. I don't.
So he's gonna ride the trail with us, guys.
We're gonna steal from Russ and Luke because,
dear
well,
listener,
we're part of Zero Gravity Media, and we can do that.
We can do
right?
that. So
Okay.
welcome, Ray. How are you doing tonight, sir?
Man, I'm so good. It's ridiculous, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me on, and I'm excited to ride the quote-unquote ride the trail with you guys. So let's get it going, man.
So I said your name. God said, "Let there be thunder and lightning," and it struck.
And look, he's already showing off the merch. All right, since you're doing it, I'm gonna do it as well.
If he's gonna do it, we can do it.
Hey, man, it's all about the merch game, man.
We'll buy one of yours if you buy one of ours.
Sounds good.
All right. So, Ray, I mean, TikTok, liberal logic. I mean, you're kind of a fun-loving guy. You like to give guys hell. That's kind of our kind of thing too.
Yeah.
Kyle and I, you kind of saw it a little pre-show. We like to give each other shit a little bit back and forth. We are brothers.
Amen.
It is our birthright of which to do. So,
So,
I mean, tell us. I mean, just tell us about yourself and how you got to where you are, and kind of. I mean, what brought you? Were you born conservative? Were you born on the Republican side? Did that something that it was an epiphany midway through your life? How did that all happen for you?
yeah, I'll give you the 10-second tour. I was born and raised in Ohio. Was born in an Air Force base. I grew up in a small town, good old Troy, Ohio. Very small town north of Dayton, Ohio, if you know where Dayton is.
Yep.
But went to school there. Grew up in a like 20% of the town was black. The other rest was white. I'm half white, half black, so I'm a African brother. So I kind of get the perspective of both sides. So I
with you being bald, I couldn't 100% tell if you just had a really good tan or what the deal was.
Listen, I got that delicious chocolate that God gave me. You know what I mean?
So,
yeah. But I always joke around that I'm black from the waist down, but that's another story for another time. Just kidding. It's the PC show, so it's all good.
We are unfiltered, sir. You can say whatever YouTube will let us get away with. You go right on ahead. And if YouTube blocks us, we'll just go somewhere else.
We're too low budget to add in beeps. So, and this is live. So
there's a 20-second buffer, but I have no clue how to go and cut anything out. So
it's all good. It's all good. I typically don't curse like a sailor, so it's all good. I will do my best, man. But grew up in Ohio. Grew up in a blue collar Democratic home. My mom and dad were pretty centrist, if that makes sense.
Well, by today's standards, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they would be considered like I think that if you're going to put my dad in a box, he would be like a JFK Democrat.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My mom would be more of a blue collar Democrat. Because in Ohio, what I found out is traveling through the country, Democrat means a completely different thing in different places, right?
Yep.
So in Ohio, it's blue collar, it's for the worker, it's all that fun stuff. But then I moved to Florida. My first strength and conditioning gig. I was a strength and conditioning coach for 6 years. So I shocker, I'm a big boy. I lift heavy stuff, hence the name Strong One. That was the original intent of the TikTok page, and it kind of morphed into something else, which is hilarious. But I'll get to that in a second. But long story short, I was a strength and conditioning coach. I moved down to Florida. And to this day, I'm still a registered Democrat, which will shock people to death. I don't claim either party at this point in my life, but I moved down thinking I was a Democrat. I'm still a registered Democrat. I coached at USF for about a year and a half. Then I moved out to Los Angeles, and I coached at UCLA for 2.5 years. So UCLA football, go Bruins, all that fun stuff like that.
Were you there 15, 16?
I was in 2010, 2011, 2012.
Okay, I was hoping you were there for the fake spike touchdown against the Aggies.
No, yeah. So long story short, we were there when Texas was ranked number 4, and we started the demise of Texas. So that was the beautiful thing. So for the Longhorns out there, ha 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 ha. But
so Kyle's an Aggie, so you're not gonna get any hate out of that side of the room.
I know, man. When they're going to bring that back? They're going to run that rivalry back or not?
Aggies running scared,
not
baby.
Anytime soon, probably.
Aggies keep running scared.
That's not the truth at all. Actually, the
Lost Dodge told
last couple of times that they've been an opportunity to play each other in a bowl game, the Longhorns found a path away from that bowl. But
somehow they got to go play Utah. In the Alamo Bowl this year, which was, so there was a Texas Bowl, because this is what Kyle's talking about. So A&M got selected for the Texas Bowl, and that was the most likely bowl. A&M and UT had like the same record this year, and it was like, A&M, UT, Houston, Alamo Bowl, or Texas Bowl, like that makes perfect sense. That would be must-see TV. The stadium would be sold out, and then all of a sudden, everybody was like, okay, this is gonna happen, and all of a sudden, it's Texas is gonna go play Utah, who's 11-2.
Yeah.
In the Alamo Bowl?
And it's the same thing as the year before with Georgia, who had aspirations of being in the playoffs and then stubbed their toe late.
Texas was a 10-win team that year.
Yeah, but so Georgia stubbed their toe late, and now they're kind of in this situation where no one gives a shit because they thought they were going to be in the Final Four, and instead they're going and playing.
Yeah, half
Texas,
their starters don't play. The running backs don't play. The wide receivers
half
don't play.
Their coaching staff left early. They didn't care. It's like whatever. Screw it. It's no big deal. And then they go play Texas, and it's like midway to the third quarter, and they went, "Holy shit, fuck! Maybe we should actually play."
I call that the we're back game. And then 29. So the Texas quarterback, who is not very good but has a big mouth, right?
Yes.
He comes out, they beat Georgia, and he goes, "For all you Texas fans, we're back!" And then they go 7-5 this year.
Yeah. Oops.
It was like, now, okay, so that's out. So we will get on tangents for days. So please, if you let us get there, we will go on them, and we will happily, skippily hop our little asses down Lollipop Lane there. So UCLA strength and conditioning coach, grew up still a registered Democrat. So obviously don't live in Texas because you don't have to register one way or the other in Texas. Yeah. It's open primaries. If I want to go vote in the Democratic primary, I just show up and vote in the Democratic primary that year.
Nice.
So okay, grew up in a Democrat house. Dad's a JFK type Democrat. So liberal logic, where's that come from?
Yeah, liberal logic. Basically, I moved out to LA and realized quickly I wasn't a Democrat. I found out incredibly fast that Los Angeles is Satan's butthole, and it is a very dirty, nasty, disgusting place. And if people were watching it, it's not that I don't love the people of Los Angeles. I made a lot of great friends there, but it is the closest thing to the world, or to the to Satan's parlor as you can possibly have. So, and really, you're talking about people that believe in some crazy things. You got people that believe in infanticide as some genuine thing. That was a startling revelation to me. You've got people that claim to be the most tolerant people in the country, but if you said that you followed Christ, well, you were the most evil human most evil human being on the planet. You just found a lot of things quickly about the Democratic Party. And when I moved back to Florida, when I was being a strength and conditioning coach, I wanted to move somewhere warmer, cheaper, and I started running my own business. Ran a sales and marketing firm for 9 years, and I started down that path. And you got to keep in mind, I'm still in that Democratic mindset, but really not claiming being a Democrat. I was very independent. I still a little bit am very independent. I would, if I was going to categorize myself, I'd be center left, if that makes sense. But the older I get, I think the more right I get pulled, just because the left is shifting so far. But I remember driving into work, I'd get up at like 4 a.m. and I'd listen to Neil Bortz in the morning. So I don't know if you've heard of Neil Bortz before, but he's an old school conservative. He's kind of like an old school Rush Limbaugh style guy. And I remember listening to him every single day going to work and getting just pissed off. I get so mad. I was like, this racist white SOB, what is this freaking problem? Why does he hate black people so much? And what would bother me was I couldn't refute his arguments. I couldn't refute him. He would make an argument that sounded in my mind as a trained Democrat, from all the mainstream outlets that influence thought nowadays. And I couldn't refute what he was saying, and it was pissing me off. And I kept listening to the guy more and more and more. And finally, I think one of the kind of pivotal moments was, I had just voted for Obama the second time, and I realized quickly once I voted for Obama, he pushed through Obamacare, and immediately I had a tax that I didn't have before. The healthcare that I had before was, pretty good for what I had for me and my wife. And it immediately absolutely kind of fell off the planet. And I got taxed a lot more. And I was like, wait a minute, this was supposed to be the Affordable Health Care Act. And what was forced to be on was something incredibly expensive and not what I had before. And I was like, wait a minute, a president has never affected me before. I'm not a George Bush guy. I never was. I think he's a globalist SOB, but we can talk about that later. That's fine. But at the end of the day, I was like, geez, I've never had a president actually affect my general day and what I'm doing. And then I started running my business and realized how much money I was paying the federal government by creating jobs. That was a very interesting stat to me. I was like, this is very interesting to me that I can employ 20 to 30 people and I'm going to get punished for it as a business owner for contributing jobs. I created more jobs than the government did, and I'm the bad guy for that. And that kind of combined with kind of Neil Bortz kind of having that awakening for me and challenging my thought process, I realized quickly that I really wasn't a Democrat. I'll never say that I'm a Republican for a few reasons, but what I would say is there's a massive level of hypocrisy on the left. There's a massive level of hypocrisy for people that call themselves liberals. And when I say liberals, I need to be very clear. The idea of liberalism is not necessarily a bad thing. That's probably going to sound shocking when I hold up my liberal logic cup. You know what I mean? I don't necessarily think that the idea of being a liberal is evil. What I do think is progressives have taken over that wing of the party, or that thought process, and morphed it into some hybrid, disgusting man bear pig. Do you guys watch South Park?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some nasty man
So
bear
I
pig.
won't anybody take me cereal.
Take me serious. But it's just become that. And I don't think people actually sit there and realize their stances. Yeah. They don't realize that, the one that's astounding to me is we've taken all these drastic precautions to avoid becoming sick, but the same people are okay with 600,000 babies getting murdered every single day. Like, it blows my mind. It blows my mind that Donald Trump is the most evil human being on the planet, but every single Democrat is coming out as a pedophile now. You know what I mean? Like, it amazes me quickly how completely lost in the sauce the left is. And I feel like I have to call that out. So when I started TikTok, I did it as a joke because I do my own podcast. It's called Plausible Foolishness. I do it with the mad scientist, Mad Matt, and we do it every Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on Twitch, which now we're questioning that since Twitch just booted Mr. Trump. So I guess we got to be the light in the darkness over there. But yeah, what was interesting is I started TikTok as a joke. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on with this TikTok thing? And I saw Paul Joseph Watson. You guys follow Paul Joseph Watson? Yeah, dude, he's a stud. Go ahead.
I do not. Sorry.
Okay, he's a stud. He's a guy that he was regularly featured on InfoWars for a long time. English guy, has a very unique perspective on the world, and he's very good at calling out the bullcrap. And I appreciate that about him because I tend to do that as well. But he would point out certain things, and I'm sitting there like, okay, why in the world are people quiet about certain things? And I think my first video that got steam on TikTok, because originally I did the strong one just so I could video edit my lifting videos, to be honest with you. I just wanted to video edit my lifting videos to make them look cool. That's all I wanted to do. Like, I'm a 552 bencher, I lift some heavy stuff, whatever. I was just trying to have some fun. And right around the same time, the Jussie Smollett thing happened. And I could not believe that nobody could see that coming. It blew me away that people believed a story that in Chicago at 2 a.m. in negative 20-degree weather, 2 MAGA hat wearing people, let me repeat this, in Chicago assaulted a guy, put a noose around his neck, and told him, this is MAGA country. If you can't detect, pardon my French, if you can't detect that bullshit, like, there's something mentally wrong with you at this point. You know what I mean? And thank God, I think people are awake of that, more aware of that nowadays, especially with like the whole Bubba Wallace bull crap that just popped off and stuff like that. But to me, I couldn't understand how for 3 days we demonized Donald Trump voters, and America in general, calling America this most racist place, because that was the narrative that popped off. And then magically, it comes to find out the guy was completely full of crap, and most of us knew that before. So that was like my first video that hit like 50,000 views, because I think I just ranted for 15 seconds about Jussie Smollett, and people liked it or whatever. And the liberal logic thing, that whole deal started on my podcast. Anytime we would hear some absurdity or some stupidity, like one of the, I think when that really started was, I think Governor Northam from Virginia. And, the whole week, Donald Trump's beat up as this racist guy. And Virginia's got a Democratic governor that has worn blackface or KKK hoods, and we don't know which one. And not a word comes out from the media. Donald Trump's the racist, the guy that got the NAACP award before he was ever president. He's the racist, but Ralph Northam is liberal logic. So like we just kept calling stuff out like that. And that's kind of what's happened. And then for me, when I see absurdity, I just point it out. I really do. When I see people getting completely hysterical about masks right now, it makes me laugh. when I see people getting completely hysterical about Donald Trump in any form or fashion, not that he's a perfect guy. There's things I definitely disagree with him on. I called him out for the whole raising the smoking age to 21 thing. I was like, what does that even mean? I don't smoke, but that just seems like an overreach of freedom for people that can go out and take a bullet for a country at 18, but they can't light up a cigarette. Like, give me a break, bro. So
they did put an exemption for veterans, for soldiers in there. Soldiers can still buy tobacco on camp, on base.
Touche. But my thing was this. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. And I get it. You're trying to give caveats to kind of move legislation through. But for me, if I see absurdity, I'm calling it out with absurdity, and just how I do things, man. That's how I've always done things. And people generate, or I guess they gravitate to that, and they enjoy it. And what started out as the editing, I just wanted to edit some videos for lifting videos, turned into liberal logic. And like, I didn't even make this mug. I didn't make my shirts. I didn't make all this stuff. It's people from TikTok making this stuff for me, setting up the website for me. And it's been a lot of fun. So I've really enjoyed the ride and just enjoying the show. So that's why I'm here.
We'd love some shirts. I mean, we'd take a couple shirts. I mean, the SBU, send us an email. We'll send you the logo. We'll send you the
I
raw
got
file.
up to 300 followers today, so I'm growing, buddy.
All right, so there's two big topics that happened today. I was
actually about to breach the one since he mentioned pedophilia.
Okay.
I was going to ask him, how long does he think Miss Maxwell has?
I'll give her about 4 days before she suicides herself.
Yeah.
So let's start the hashtag right now. Gazelle Maxwell did not kill herself before it happened. You know what I mean?
Tonight, we're going to get the news that she's being transferred to a federal holding facility in Arkansas.
No, dude, she's already going to the same exact facility that Epstein killed himself in.
So that's serious? A male-only facility, so I doubt that.
That's what I heard today.
I saw people making fun of that. I did not see anything in the verifiable news that actually happened. So funnily enough,
I saw from a few different places that's where she was going. I called bullshit, but I don't know. Maybe I'm not wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know.
So we have the Ghislaine Maxwell. Okay, and then we have what was a very good point of news today. 4.4 million jobs created over the last month.
4.8.
Wait a minute.
4.8.
Wait a minute. We weren't supposed to have a U, guys. That wasn't supposed to happen.
No, that hockey stick isn't going to happen. Trump doesn't know anything about business. And son of a bitch, if you just – now here's the greatest argument ever from an economics perspective. Well, those aren't jobs created. Those are just people going back to work. But wait. You guys were claiming it was a 20% unemployment and there was 40 million jobs lost. So if we lost them, we can gain them. Yeah, I mean, doesn't that make sense? Weird. It's so weird. We got a friend of the show who's fairly liberal, and he's like, Trump didn't create these jobs. These are just people going back to work. I said, no. Here's your tweet from 3 weeks ago where it's Trump has cost the Americans 40 million jobs, and it's wait a minute. If he cost them 40 million and he got 5 of them back, that counts. Put it, ding, bing, put it on the board.
I feel horrible for liberals because I feel like. Liberals love Finding Nemo so much because they relate to Dory. Like, they don't really remember anything that's going on 99% of the time. They're the ones that told us that the economy would completely bankrupt the moment that man was put into office. That never happened. They're the ones that told us that we would be in a war with North Korea. That never happened. They're the ones that told us that World War II was going to happen with Iran. That never happened. Yeah. They're the ones that told us the stock market would plummet. That never happened. They're the ones that told us that job creation couldn't happen. And he said historic job growth and lowered unemployment for Black, Hispanic, and women across the board. So what's amazing to me is they make statements and literally they're like, who's Nemo? Oh, wait, Orange Man bad? What? And they forget this stuff, and it's amazing to me. I just laugh every time.
Yeah, between you and our buddy Damani Felder, I'm having a hard time coming up with who makes the better content, because both of you have come out with some. No, I mean, you've gotten some funny shit out there lately.
Monty has some fairly impressive editing skills. So I'll be honest, I don't have TikTok because I choose not to be hacked by the Chinese government.
True.
So I haven't seen a lot of your videos. Kyle sent me one, and you know, it was funny, and it was like, oh, cool, he's coming on the show. But I don't do Facebook. I don't do TikTok. I do Twitter just because I love trolling people. Like right now, people are on – because Trump just posted a tweet saying about how – mail-in balloting is going to be bad. And people, this is voter suppression. And so I said, well, 20% of mail-in ballot votes are never counted.
Yeah.
right? They're never counted. In the last 4 elections, we've lost 30 million mail-in ballots out of
What?
120. So 20. I said, so if you're saying that we won't want to suppress vote, that's 20% of the people. This would never have their vote counted. That's not counting, and that's not even including ballots thrown out for fraud, ballots thrown out because of technical errors, ballots thrown out because they arrived late. This is just, they never showed up. They don't exist. We don't know where the fuck they are. The U.S. Postal Service has no fucking clue. They're gone, right?
Yep.
It's like that episode of South Park where he takes them to the bank, and it's gone.
Yeah.
And so
it
I said, so you want, I said, so, and the other funny part about this is, as I got in an argument the other day, the guy, well, Atlanta, they were, the GOP is closing polling places in Atlanta. And I said, you understand who runs polling places, right? It's the county.
Yes.
It's not the state. It's not Brian Kemp. It's not Trump. It's not the Fed. It is the county. I said, so if your county is closing polling places, it's your elected officials. That means it's and I hate to say it. I don't know if they're aware. Chicago, Detroit, Atlanta, Baltimore, New York City are run.
Libertarian?
Libertarian.
Republicans?
Yeah, far right.
No?
Yeah, it's the Proud Boys.
What was it? What was it the other day? Was it USA Today or the AP was like, oh, we got Trump. He said all these major cities are democratically run, and it was like
there was
one was Republican,
there
and
was
4
one,
were,
and it
4
was like
were
number
independent.
8.
I'm like 20 something. I'm like, yeah, you got him all right. You fact checked the fuck out of him right
Ted
there,
Cruz,
buddy.
greatest cell phone in history.
Listen, I love media cell phones. I love watching, CNN contributors go to the border and say this wall's not working and there's nobody here. And
Jim
it's
Acosta.
like, bro, you don't.
The wall's not working. There's nobody coming across here.
It's crazy.
I just wonder if the cameraman, because you got to think these cameramen are hardworking dudes. They're probably more likely to be a little bit, they're just doing their job, right? Their job is the film. I'm just trying to keep a job, right?
Amen.
But you got to bid it. There's moments where they're like, the fuck he just said?
You jackhole.
Or when, Ocasio-Cortez is in the parking lot. It's just so sad. And she's 10 miles away from where she needs to be.
Yeah. It's amazing. No, but back to your boy Damani, I think he is so much better content. I post a lot of his stuff. It's so good. It's so witty. I get pissed off that he figures it out before I do, to be completely honest with you. Like, I literally badly, I would love to sit and talk to him sometime, pick his brain. Love seeing him in Uncle Tom. I don't know if you guys saw that movie yet, Uncle Tom. They just
I really want to, though.
It's phenomenal.
You got a coupon code?
Yeah. No, I bought it. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was amazing because a lot of the things that were said in that movie definitely touched me as a black conservative, and as a guy who I kind of see both sides of the fence here. I kind of see where Black America's coming from. I see where white America's coming from, and then I kind of see the reality, and I try to speak to both of those, because it's like, I'm never going to come on here and tell you that, like, racism doesn't exist. I'm never going to say that. But what I would say is it's laughable to me in 2020 that we actually believe that any of us are innocent. We all have our issues. We all have our scruples and all of our, things that we have to deal with. But the reality of the situation is, you guys are in Texas. I'm in Florida. I've lived in California. I've lived in Ohio. Been all over this freaking country. I'm missing 9 states. I think that's what my tally is right now. I've never walked into a place and people are like, get the blank out of here. Okay. Now, partly that's because I'm 6'4" and 400 pounds. That's another story for another time. But the reality of the situation is I don't see too many race wars going on. And the media paints America as like we're trying to kill each other all the time, and that's not the fact. I'm a chocolatey brother in between 2 brothers that are white. So clearly we're not trying to kill each other 24/7. And if you go to most places of business, places of worship, places where people are working together, the narrative is not matching the reality. And I think that too often people ignore that. And then what's amazing is you have movies like Uncle Tom that come out and really explain the Black conservative thought process way better than I could even articulate it. And you have people like Herman Cain. You've got people like Larry Elder coming in and speaking to this. And they've been in this dogfight for years. You got people like Thomas Sowell. And it's not like they're coming from a place of hating themselves or whatever bullcrap they try to drum up. It comes from a place of reality. I think that sometimes we forget that we're humans first, and then all of a sudden we're like, well, I'm a white guy, so I gotta like, it's like, nah, well, I'm a black guy and I need to know, like, no, man, and I'm a yellow guy and I need, like, no, that's not how it works. You're a human being with rational thoughts. And at the end of the day, we forget that as Americans, and that's a lot of my content that I'm trying to kick Damani's butt with. No, I'm just kidding. I think he's awesome. I'm trying to push him up. But I just point that stupidity out, for everybody that's like, the whole country's racist. I'm like, well, are you projecting because you've got that? Because no offense, I don't look at white people and hate them. I don't look at black people and hate them. I don't look at Asian people and hate them. And most people don't in 2020. Let's get real with ourselves. Yeah. But what I will say is that at the end of the day, it's completely overblown. It's completely overhyped to the point where we're seeing more hoaxes than we're actually seeing racial events. The University of Missouri with magically the N-word went up, and come to find out a black guy did it. We've
Oakland
got
with the nooses.
Brooklyn with the nooses. You've got freaking the Bubba Wallace thing. You've got freaking what was the other one that was just ridiculous? LeBron James a couple years ago magically had the N-word spray painted onto his palatial mansion door, but the camera that was there magically didn't work that day, and by the time the police got there, it was painted over.
You sure he wasn't in a New York secure prison facility?
Yeah, exactly, right.
So,
right.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on. I think, I go to work every day, and I work with people from all over, man, from all over the world, all over the United States. And, we have fun, we goof, we disagree, there's things that we talk about, and it's like, well, I don't agree with you here, I don't agree with you there, or whatever, but, okay, we can have a disagreement, and we can say, this is why I believe this, or, oh, well, I grew up like this, so I believe it a little bit differently. And it's funny that, with the left, when it comes to things they want to do, like marijuana or, prison reform or things, then it's state rights are important. But when it comes to things that we want, like banning abortion or, not paying for every illegal immigrant in the state to have free health care, then all of a sudden state rights don't matter. Then the federal government needs to be able to be in power. So, you live in Florida. So Texas and Florida share one thing in common, which we share with North Dakota, which is no state income tax.
Amen, brother.
So, why is it okay for liberal states to have states' rights when it's things that they want to, and I'm fine with it. Like I tell our friends over in California, like, look, if y'all want to pay for every illegal alien in your state to have free health care, well, then you pay for it out of your pocket. Don't ask for federal grants. Don't ask for money from the federal government. Yep. You guys pay for it. But once they come into our border, that insurance doesn't work anymore.
Of course. 100%. And that's the thing is at the end of the day, this is my issue with the left is it always shifts to what's convenient, right? Whatever's convenient, that is literally the path that they go on. And to your point, it's crazy to me that, what's the common sentiment? The thing that I keep hearing online right now is there are no borders. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, so I can enter your home right now and just take a dump in your bathroom. And there's no problem,
But wait, didn't CHOP? Wasn't the first thing they did was direct borders?
That, my friends, was what we call liberal logic. Like, that's literally it. Like, if you are literally for years saying
they patrolled it with guns.
Yeah, no.
It was like, you guys are anti-gun, and they have AR-15s. Like, the gun that they most want gone is the gun of choice.
And they started this whole thing because police were bad, remember? Police were horrible.
Yeah, and then
they
three people.
Started their own police force.
Killed 3 people. And guess what? The only ethnicity of people their police force killed was 3 kids, all black.
All black. They killed a 16-year-old black kid. Did you know that?
And a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old has passed away.
Oh, that sucks, man.
Yeah.
They unloaded 300 rounds into that van, by the way.
And so the funny part is they say
Never heard that.
So here's the story. I'll fill you in. I've been so there's video, but it's very hectic and it's hard to see. So what ends up happening is you see gunshots, and they say, "Oh, they shot at us," is what the people in CHOP are trying to say. you can hear somebody yelling, "I need everybody that doesn't have a gun to get on the ground." I mean, you would imagine it was, a Proud Boys rally, right? Unite the Right or something. So they all hit the deck, and you hear pow, 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 and then all of a sudden you see this white Jeep hit a barrier, probably because the kid's been shot and lost control of his car. Because, you get shot in the side of the head, which is where they said he was shot, the 16-year-old. You tend to lose control of your vehicle. And then it was, what was it, Bonnie and Clyde, with the Texas Rangers, just unload and make the Swiss cheese out of the car.
Yep, 100%.
The fact that it survived, that initially survived it, is a miracle. 300 rounds went off, but that must have been some James Bond villain style shooting right there.
Yeah, they're not. Let's say they're not trained with their weapons.
And the funny thing is the other one that made me very loud, and of course that's a sad situation, but the other one that made me sad was, I don't know if you saw the video of the guy who got shot 5 times in Chaz Chop or whatever the heck it's called, complaining that the police didn't step in. He was like, "I'm so mad that the police did not step in and save me and help me." How laughable is that? I mean, no offense.
No, it's exactly it. Because these people want the savior of the government, right? We've been told, and back to your liberal logic, right? We've been told for the last 3 years, you don't need guns, the police will save you. You don't need guns, the police will save you. You don't need guns, the police will save you. And now, let's get rid of the police. And then funnily enough, all the people who want to get rid of the police all of a sudden have guns.
That's so weird.
What happened here? Like, where did the logic train fall off? Where did the wheels fall off of that logic train?
It's Dory.
Yeah.
It's literally Dory. It's the flavor of the week.
It's so much. By the
way. And I'm going to steal that for my content now. But no, I'm just kidding. But no, I mean, like seriously, I think about that. It's Dory. It's, "Hi, what's your name? Are you Nemo?" Like every single day with liberals. So when you wake up, you really don't know what they stand for, and this is why liberals get pissed off, because conservatives have principles. Like, in my opinion, what a conservative is someone that conserves the Constitution of the United States of America. That doesn't change. As it's written now in 2020, it is the second greatest document ever put to paper. The first being the Bible, in my opinion. Now, here's the reality of the situation. If that's an immovable document that guarantees the rights of we the people to protect the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness, if you're not coming from that framework, it's magic what happens with the left, because the opposite of conservatism is progressivism. And progressivism is literally the idea of progressing away from whatever the establishment is. And in our case, it's the Constitution. So as you progress away from the Constitution, what are you left with? You are going to live in a Lenin and Marxist BS, Chaz hellhole like we saw. And people are going to be shocked why it fell apart so quickly. The whole Dory thing is like, oh my gosh! Like think about 10 years.
They're claiming it was a success. They're claiming that they were fine, and it's like, yes, because you relied on all the capitalism happening right around you. Without any of that capitalism, because Kyle and I grew up in the country, right? We grew up planting plants and plowing fields. So when we saw the pictures of their garden, it was a fucking field day.
So goddamn hard.
You saw how shallow that bad boy was?
Yeah, on top of
it. And then they didn't even take the shit out of the
They left it in the plastic cup. For fuck's sake, dude.
Oh, bro.
But the funniest thing about it is that they
college educated, bro. We saw that in Michigan. You saw that in Detroit with them. What was it? Was that a man or a woman? Because it was very difficult to tell.
It usually is with liberals. You can't really tell.
Dancing around. Barber
the funniest
has to
thing
go
about
that. Go ahead, Kyle.
The funniest thing about that damn garden was that it was for blacks only.
What?
It was a blacks only garden.
Isn't that
segregated garden?
Well, sorry, you forgot the indigenous people. It's black and indigenous people, so that makes it better.
No whites. Let's put it that way.
No whites, because white is not right.
Can I pause for just a second? And Ray, I love you, and I want you to know I'm enjoying this so much. But something amazing just happened. And I've got to say it. Scott Pressler has just agreed to come on this podcast, Kyle.
Woo!
Scott Pressler. Scott Pressler is the long-haired guy that goes to all the cities and does the Republican cleanups.
Wait,
Oh,
the guy
yeah,
I've been
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to
That's
get,
awesome,
the
dude.
persistence, I've been trying to get him on the.
He just sent me his cell phone number.
Damn it!
He followed me on
If
Twitter.
he comes on the show, I'm gonna give him a hard time because I've sent him like.
I don't give a shit
15
what you
DMs.
do. He's got
I sent him one,
Ray,
but still.
don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to take anything away from you because I love you and you're doing so great. But this was just like you saw me go.
Listen, I don't take personal offense. I'm excited to be here, so it's all good, brother. So it's all good, man. Listen, I don't think of myself more highly than I am. I literally started a TikTok page to troll stupidity, or start for lifting, and then I started trolling stupidity, and people started watching it. So listen, you got to get in where you can get in, brother.
So I started a Twitter page because I had a congressional campaign. I was running for Congress out in Texas because Mike Conaway, our current congressman, is retiring, and I said, "Fuck it." Right? Like, what if I got to lose? So I ran, and I didn't do bad. Like, I wasn't horrible. But I did pull out before the actual primary election. I lost.
Okay.
Only time he's pulled out, he's got 6 kids.
Hey, listen, amen, brother.
Hey, mine works, Kyle. I don't know what took you so long to figure yours out, but mine was working early, all right? So, my wife is going to kill me when she watches this, by the way. Her dad says worse, by the way. Her dad says way worse. Her dad has offered every Christmas to get me a bigger TV. He's like, dude, do I got to get you a bigger TV? What the fuck, man? Like, do I need to pay for your cable? What's going on? And my wife just turns beet red. It's hilarious.
And our littler brother got him a home
self-vasectomy kit.
So just hold and click.
Yeah,
okay,
right. It's like, okay, drink this bottle of whiskey. And
I couldn't imagine, bro.
Okay. So sorry for the detour there.
You're good.
But Ray, I mean, I love this Nemo logic so much. I love this so much. The Dory analogy. Yeah. This is so funny to me. And by the way, go ahead. I have every faith to let you. I want to see that on TikTok. I want to see everybody being like, "You're fucking Dory." I want that to be the new thing. Like, people just walk up to people in public like, "What up, Dory?" instead of Karen.
Yeah. I mean, it's okay, Karen. It's okay, Dory. I mean, whatever you want to call it, it is what it is. But yeah, the funny thing is this is I think the strength of the conservative side of thinking, not just because it's right, but at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Obviously, in my opinion, but the reality is we don't forget things, man. You know, I think Republicans are named elephants for a reason. Yeah, no, they don't forget. The elephant never forgets. And unfortunately, I wish that our leaders had a little bit more balls and actually would stand by their principles and remind these jackholes, you know, what they've done and where they failed. But, you know, again, it's Dory, right? I mean, to your point, people in Chaz literally thought that was a success, right? I'm online with people completely blowing up their logic, and they're like, well, you didn't win that debate. And I'm like, okay, projection, congratulations. So you literally felt like you got your butt kicked on that one, so I'll leave you to it. And that's typically liberals, right? Like, how do you defend murdering babies? How do you defend your crap hole towns? How do you defend your crap hole states? How do you defend having so much tax revenue and still be broke? Like, how is that possible? I think Texas and Florida are like the only states that have a balanced budget. Yeah. Like, you guys have a balanced budget.
North Dakota, right? Yeah, we're on a surplus currently. We have a rainy day fund. It's not as big as it was because we've spent some of it. But North Dakota is still running a surplus. Florida, and those are 3 states without a state income tax. But we're also 100%. States that are more fiscally conservative.
Crazy, right? It's so weird. It's like we're told that we're the idiots, we're the ingrates, we're the deplorables, we're the uneducated, but magically we can handle our business where we are. You know, and that's the crazy thing. You don't see Chaz's popping up in the middle of freaking Dallas, Texas, or wherever. You just don't see it happening, right? The reality of the situation is we're a bunch of hillbillies, slack-jawed, especially in Florida. We get reamed the most because, gosh forbid, we actually enjoy where we live. But it is, you know, I'm not dissing Texas. I love Texas. I love Whataburger. I'm pissed off that you guys have In-N-Out Burger in Dallas. That really pisses me off. But that's another story for another time. I wish we had that here.
The Texas In-N-Outs, it's not the same as California In-N-Out.
They're not.
California In-N-Outs aren't the California In-N-Outs.
Well, I would agree, but I've been to In-N-Out in California, in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, San Francisco. You know, I spent a couple months out in California 2 years ago, so I was like, okay, In-N-Out, that's supposed to be a thing. Now, if I'm going to go for a California burger place, I'm going Five Guys.
Yeah. The other one that's good out there is Fat Burger. That's one that's more
Yeah.
LA, and that one is phenomenal.
Wasn't there a
But
Fat Burger
that's
in College Station at one point, Kyle?
Yes.
Yeah.
There still is.
There's a Fat Burger in College Station.
I'm not sure if
I
it's the
didn't
same chain, but there is a Fat Burger in both Bryan and College Station.
It was
But
Kyle's
yeah.
favorite place.
yeah.
We've got no. But
Oh,
we
yeah.
got Freebirds too, so I don't know. Maybe it's
Freebirds
just
is
because somebody went to UCLA or USC and then came to A&M for their masters and
Yeah.
thought it was a good opportunity to start a franchise, and they did, and who knows. The thing that amazes me about Chop is that it suspiciously closed right as the biker gang showed up to Seattle to enforce its closure.
That's really weird.
Yeah, it's really weird that the cops finally decided that it's time to take back over before some real damage was about to get done. So it was very surprising to me that magically happened at that time. Just like Epstein magically killed himself,
Of course.
just magically. But
Usually Maxwell will do the same thing, by the way. But it'll be we don't know what happened. Oh, gee golly. But yeah.
So yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that just kind of makes you go.
So so there's something we need to say about Ghislaine Maxwell, because I've seen this 100 times today on Twitter, 100,000 times. It's this is the end of Trump. Trump's going down. So we know that Bill Clinton and that John Podesta were on the plane to the island. We know that.
Yes.
We have the manifest, right? This is a Florida thing, so you know this.
100%.
We have that Trump took a picture with him while at Mar-a-Lago and maybe in New York at a club. But we never have where Trump was on the plane. Now Trump has his own plane, so Trump could have flown himself there.
Sure.
There's other possibilities. And I'll say this: if it's found out that Trump visited the island, if it's proven 100% factually true, then I'm done with Trump, and Trump can go to hell.
100%.
But until I see some evidence other than a photo at a random event of the two together, we know John Podesta, we know Bill Clinton, and now the question is who else?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny on that list that Kevin Spacey's on that list, by the way. Will Ferrell's on that list, by the way. There's a lot of names that they don't want to be known. There's probably some very reasons why Miss Maxwell will magically suicide herself. But to your point, the same people that pull up the Trump photo, I ask a very simple question. Can you point out the fact that Donald Trump legally, first of all, put a restraining order and kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago in 2011, way before he ran for president? And they're always dumbfounded because they're like, "Oh, that happened?" I'm like, "Yeah. If you get outside of CNN and do a little research, it's magical, because Donald Trump literally kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago for a couple reasons, but mainly the fact that he was attacking little girls at Mar-a-Lago. Yeah. So at the end of the day, he got tooted and booted back in 2011. And don't get me wrong, when did Donald Trump run for?
It was a little bit after,
right?
Yeah, it was a little bit after that. Almost
a half decade later.
So weird, like not quite, So it would be very interesting to me to have a guy kick some other guy out of his place of business for being a pervert flying to an island. Now, I could be completely wrong. Trust me, there's plenty of pedophiles in the deep state. We've seen that numerous times over and freaking over again. But I just don't understand the logic train. Why would you kick a guy out of your place of establishment if you were down with the little kid sex?
Yeah.
That to me is very, very intriguing.
So
go ahead.
I've got a new theory on CNN strategy, right? I don't think they care about the American audience. I think they don't. I think that what CNN is, it's American news for Europeans.
Yes.
That they want, because Europeans look down on Americans. They think we're
and people in the airports.
Yeah.
Don't forget the airports.
How most people see Florida in the United States is how everybody outside of the United States sees all of the United States, right?
Sure.
We're just all these redneck hillbilly we're gun toting, and Kyle and I can go redneck if you want us to go redneck. We are well versed in the redneck world.
Hey, I'm half redneck, so I feel you, brother.
There you go. So, when I go overseas,
we'll say he's from Ohio, man.
Yeah, when I go over, there's a good song about that.
Oh yeah.
Who sung that? I'd have to look that up. Anyway, when I go overseas, the only news you get is CNN, and all these guys are, oh, look at these dumbass Americans. What are you doing? Oh, what's your president? Oh my God, you guys are idiots. And it's like, you guys have no fucking clue what's actually happening here.
100%. 100%. And to your point, the reality situation. So I spoke 3 years ago in London. So I got invited to speak in front of BT, which is Britain's equivalent to AT&T. And they asked some very basic questions about Donald Trump. And they're like, did people really vote for Donald Trump? And I'm like, absolutely. And I'm one of them. Why? And you got to understand where Europeans are coming from. There is no such thing as a conservative party in Europe. Okay. Europe has been dominated by monarchies forever. So their only mindset is submission. Okay. That's why democracy, that's why, a republic, a republic like ours would never work in Europe, because Europeans don't fundamentally believe in the ideas of freedom. Okay. So that's why it never works when we try to do it in the Middle East. That's why it never works in South America, because there's something ingrained in us that is completely in our DNA that is antithetical to anything else that the world does. That's why we're a light, a shining light on the hill. We literally are defiant by definition. Okay. That's what we do. That's what we've always done. So this idea that they feign moral superiority, but the moment that the Russians come attack them, who do you think that they're going to call? I guarantee you it's Donald Trump.
It ain't Mexico or Canada.
Yeah, the moment that you need a financial bailout, guess who you're going to? The moment that you need any assistance, you're going to those dumb hillbilly rednecks, because at the end of the day, let's take it down to a smaller scale. If the zombie apocalypse pulls out right now, I guarantee you Florida and Texas are going to be okay. Like, let's just get real with ourselves. There's a gun behind every blade of grass here. We know how to take care of ourselves, and we know how to work land. We know how to live off land. We know how to get down and dirty, whereas a lot of these states don't understand that. And that's kind of inherent to the spirit of the American will to come to a foreign place, work the land, go to a place that no one's been to before, and make it one of the greatest places this side of heaven, And so for me, when I interact with my European brothers and sisters, they're completely shocked. But what the beautiful thing, and I think the positive thing worldwide is, I was in England during Brexit. Okay, so I'm sitting with a guy who is from Wales, and he was sitting there like, dude, we've got people in Belgium telling us how to run our businesses, and I'm like, hey, do you get why Americans hate it when people tell us what we're supposed to do, right? So they're starting to get it. They're starting to wake up, and that's why Brexit happened. That's why England's not a part of the EU anymore, and you're going to see that more and more and more as the countries that break away from the EU become so successful. So you can talk as much trash as you want to in America, but you're going to want to get bailed out from us, and your people want to live like us, and you keep coming to our country all the time. So I guess we're not all that bad. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. Now, for me, you talked about this earlier about how Republicans are more like they embody the elephant. They don't forget.
Yep.
But the thing that Republicans don't do very well, at least in my mind, and this is why they hate Trump so much, is they never truly go after Democrats and call them on their bullshit.
100%.
We're more of that passive. Our facts will shine a light, and we don't need to argue with you because we've got the moral superior. We've got that moral high ground. We don't need to argue with you. We just are right, and we don't need to tell you you're wrong.
Yeah.
Whereas Donald Trump is one of the few people in the Republican Party at this time, but you're seeing a growing number of people imitating him or emulating him that are willing to go after the Democratic opponent and or the press and or the general hypocrisy of the world that it is. So it's amazing to me how much the swamp, as he likes to call it, is coming after him, because they know he's making inroads in the Republican Party and emboldening people to step up and actually speak out. And you've got even people like Mr. Ted Cruz, who's willing to just eviscerate people now. And Cruz is one of those who is just immensely brilliant. He's insanely smart. He's got one of those memories that literally will remember anything. And if you set that man on task, he's going to put you down. And was a champion debater at the college level. So now that he's coming out and willing to go into attack mode, you're seeing more and more Republicans now finally tired of taking all the bullshit, taking all the labels, and like, look, you can call me a racist, a homophobe, a da 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 da, but you, at the end of the day, you have no proof that I actually am. Just because you label me as such, because you can't counter my arguments, doesn't mean I actually am that person. If you listen to me, if you listen to what I say, if you see who I surround myself with, you'll know for a fact I am not any of those labels. But go ahead and believe CNN, because that's all you ever do.
No, the to your point, the best analogy of what Republicans are is elephants. One, they don't forget, and two, they're scared shitless when a mouse comes in front of them. I mean, that's what it's always been for the Republican Party. Is you have this massive monstrosity, and I don't know if you guys have read the book. What is that called? It's called Relentless. It's the guy who trained Michael Jordan. I don't know if you've read that book, but it's phenomenal. And he makes a very, very poignant point. As a strength and conditioning coach, I can attest to this. Any man that's over 6'10" is soft as baby crap. Let me repeat that again. Any man that's over 6'10" is soft as baby crap. And I'll say that slower, and I will offend your 6'10" viewers. But any man over 6'10",
Kevin Durant will get over it as he's
any man over 6'10" is soft. And the reason why is they have to compensate for their enormity by being super soft and not offending people and not scaring people, because they think psychologically that they're going to hurt, break, or offend people. And the reality is, when you have the moral high ground, when you have the strength that the Republican Party actually has, we are afraid to use that strength from a sense of, we don't want to be tyrannical. We don't want to go back to our roots of being, like bludgeoning people with morality. You know what I mean? Because listen, as a follower of Christ, I believe Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. But at the end of the day, I'm also realizing that the gate is narrow and not everybody's coming in. And I'm not going to govern you into Jesus. I'm not going to legislate you into Jesus. But when you hold the moral high ground, especially on core issues that are very easy to articulate to people, we're super afraid because we don't want to go back and regress back to that moment. And what's happening is this: at some point, I hate to quote Led Zeppelin, but the levee's going to break, and it will break because the generation that we're in right now. We watched South Park growing up. Okay, we watched South Park. We watched The Simpsons. We watched all of these institutions call this crap out for a long time and be able to be civil, but also call the BS out. And now you're going to throw Cocaine Mitch at me and say that he's the glory of the Republican Party? Give me a break. You're going to give me a Mitt Romney and tell me that he's the guy for the Republican Party? Give me a break. And I'm not dissing on dead people, but John McCain was the biggest joke of a candidate of all time. He wouldn't even one time critique Barack Obama because he might be called racist. Like, when you play with kitty gloves and you have all this immense power, people will eventually call you out for what you are. You're a 6'10" softy, and literally a mouse will scare you. And I think what Trump has done is saying, listen, you hate me and you hate me, and guess what? Who gives a crap? Because at the end of the day, you can get pissed at me. You can call me the worst thing on the planet, but guess what? I'm going to get things done. And while you're getting people to orange man bad me, I have a massive silent majority that's been sitting around getting, their balls kicked in for so long and being called racist, homophobic, and stupid and whatever. And we're all sitting around like, dude, we're in Florida, we're in Texas. There's no race riots here. We love each other. We're fiscally conservative and we're responsible what's going on. So why in the world are you, Nancy Pelosi, telling me that I'm a racist when you got 70,000-foot walls protecting you from the homeless there in San Francisco, and you've bankrupted your state? Don't give me a break.
Yeah.
And at some point, it's going to break. So hopefully this new strain of Republicans, which that's the thing, is like I tell people, Trump is not a Republican. He's not. He's a centrist. He's a centrist with balls. You know what I mean? And he's just a guy that does exactly what he says he's going to do. And I think that's finally shined a light on people to wake them up to this idea that you don't have to be afraid. And here's the thing I always tell people, I've done sales training forever. The word no is never going to kill you.
No.
It won't. No one has ever died from the word no. Here's the other thing. Remember the old adage, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? We have forgotten that.
So
you call me an Uncle Tom, racist, SOB, whatever. I don't care. That means nothing to me. Unless you pay my bills or raise my children, your opinion means absolutely nothing to me.
That's
so
perfectly correct.
That's what I'm trying to teach people.
So in marketing class in my MBA, which Syracuse University. So if anybody wants, I love when people on the left attack. Well, you must have gone to some bullshit university. The same one Joe Biden went to, buddy. So
what?
Go ahead. So go ahead. You want to make fun of mine? Go ahead. Call it out.
Is it the orange or the orange men or the orange women? What is it now?
Orange men.
Okay.
Yeah, Syracuse orange, and then the men's team are the orange men. So
yeah,
it's like, if you want to call me, the only difference is I was kind of at the high end of my class, and Joe Biden was at the very bottom of his. So with that being said, we learned in marketing class the rules of 10, right? So for every 10 people you talk to, one of those people will be interested in what you have to talk about. For every 10 of those people, one of those people will actually be a potential customer, and for every 10 of those people, one of them will buy. What that says is you need to talk to 1,000 effing people to get one who's going to buy something. So like I did marketing for a little while when I was still kind of in college. I did, go to the trade shows and do that kind of shit.
Yep.
And they would always like, how did you get so many people to sign up for, we did like fancy yard installations, like these big pergola things that turn sun, and then all that crap. And like, how'd you get so many people to talk, to sign up today? It's like, because while y'all were sitting over there waiting for people to come to you and talk to about it, I was out here just like, hey man, can I talk to you about this? Hey man, can I talk to you about this? And when they said no, I just went to the next guy in line because it's like I tell my guys I work with, because they go, do you always have the same jokes? And it's like, Chris Rock did not develop new material every time he went to a different city. Okay? He just got a different audience. The people there hadn't heard those jokes yet.
Our father is very notorious about this. So, Ray, our father started a quail hunting operation in 2000.
Okay.
And he gets new customers come to him pretty much every day. It's a new group. He occasionally has repeat customers, but for the most part, it's new customers. Yeah. So he's got his same 4 or 5 jokes that he's just got down pat. He knows the timing of them, and he's just got those jokes down. To us, we're sitting there going, "Oh, this joke again." But these people have never heard the joke.
100%.
So,
100%.
Exactly.
It's new audience.
So, and like you were saying earlier, with the fact country boys can't survive. Ross and I have probably cleaned more quail than most people have seen in their lifetime.
100%.
Like, we probably every year clean 5,000 quail. Except Ross hasn't done it probably, in 5 years now?
That's insane.
But I could get the routine down pretty quick. So, yeah, we used to clean, let's see, I think we used to go through 10 to 15,000 quail a year.
That's insane,
and so, cut the wings off, cut the legs off, peel down the breast, peel the back off, peel the skin off, cut down both sides of the backbone, 2 fingers into the neck, pull right out. Guts done. You throw it on the grill. You're ready to go. Rinse in the water. Go to the next one. So Kyle and I, we would have a line of birds lined up. Kyle would start cutting the wings. I would start cutting the feet. We'd start peeling the skin.
We called it a disassembly line.
Yeah, it was a disassembly line.
I like that.
Okay, so I want to go back to what you're talking about with the Republican Party, because Kyle and I, neither of us are Republicans. Like, we vote Republican. I ran as a Republican, but I don't consider myself Republican. I consider myself a constitutionalist. Right?
Amen. And
what I believe in is that piece of paper, it grants us these rights, unalienable, given to us by God, and that means that so when people in the Republican Party say, well, homosexuality and all this crap, I said it's not for us to decide, right? Because if my whole premise is that, if, like you said, if I want my freedom, then I have to give you yours, right? If I'm not paying your bills, if I'm not watching your children, then I don't have a say in your life. And what happens inside your home is inside your home. What happens inside my home is in my home. And getting back to what I would call a closed door society, I think we've become an open door society where everybody wants to see inside your house, right? They want to know what are they doing over there?
100%.
You know what? As long as nobody's being harmed inside my home, it's none of your goddamn business what's going on inside
100%.
my home.
Yeah. But you're insensitive and evil, and we need to raise a village, because Marx, right. An African proverb told us that, but to your point, 100%.
Christ said that, let all the little children come to him. He also said, spare the rod, spoil the child, and
100%.
teach that son of a bitch to fish.
Throw your nets on the other side of the boat. But yeah, I think you know, at the end of the day, what the world tends to do is flip what God originally intended. Okay, this is how it starts. It starts with a man, starts with a woman. It sounds like a country song.
Throwing a
Right?
dog in a train. You got it, buddy.
Exactly right. It starts with a man and a
Run over by a
I knew he'd do
goddamn
it.
train.
right, and you know, they have warm fuzzy feelings together. They decide that, hey, listen, we're going to stay faithful to each other in a coexisting situation where I'm faithful to you, you're faithful to me. We're going to say no to everybody else, and we're going to start popping some babies out. You've done it a lot better than I have. You're about 3 kids above me, right? And but what I
I've
would
done
say
it better
is,
than most people my age. I can promise you that. You know, the
right?
only old saying, if you can't outvote them, outbreed them.
Amen. And I've heard that many times recently. It's like, what do we do about the liberals? I'll just have more kids to them because they're not going to have them. So, you know, at the end of the day, like, what I would say is it starts there, and you start in that family union, and you bring in a life into the world, and you care for that life. You love that life. You train that life up the way it goes. And if you stay to that pattern, you know, kind of the way that God intended it, you're really not going to run into too many problems. The problem is, as populations grow, we forget that the dinner table issues, the dinner table morals that we learn at the dinner table, if we would apply those at a government level, we would not have the issues that we have. You know, at the end of the day, if you guys decide to spend way more money than you have, what's going to happen to you?
Yeah.
You're going to lose your house. You're going to lose your you know, you're going to lose a lot of things because you decided to be a jackass with your money. But magically, we allow that to happen at the government level, right? In a family situation, you know, at the end of the day, it is not my neighbor's business to know what's going on in my family 24/7, 365. And to your point, because we've become this open, crazy, whatever society, now we're letting outside forces dictate what originally was the plan, which was a woman and a man raising their children in the best form that they can. No offense, Oprah, I don't give a rat's ass what you think about children. You've never had any. I'm sorry. You know, Kevin Spacey, I don't care what you think about my morality. You raped a 14-year-old boy. Like, no offense. I don't care what you think. And the problem is that's what the media, that's what the world does, is smash us with all these people that are experts at absolutely nothing. And we regard them like they're freaking Nostradamus or whatever. And I think that there needs to be a reckoning in America. And I think it's starting to happen. I think 2016, I think Brexit, I think France pretty much almost flipped to conservative as well, is happening in the Western society, where we're like, wait a minute, time out. We've been tolerant. We've listened to your
Speaking
crap.
of pedophilic grooming,
yeah,
right? If we're going to talk pedophilic grooming, we have to talk the fact that on Macron's 18th birthday, they started dating. On his 18th birthday.
What?
Can you honestly say you believe that they waited until the day he turned 18 for them to start dating after she divorced her husband, and there's pictures of him when he was 12 with her?
You know what? The deep state is icky, icky, icky. And, you know, it's as believable as Jeffrey Epstein killing himself.
Kyle's got a very confused look on his face. Kyle, do you know who we're talking about? Emmanuel Macron.
His wife's about 7,000 years old.
Yeah, his wife's 20-something years older. It was his teacher in grade
I thought you
school.
said Macron, and I was like...
Yeah, Macron. Emmanuel Macron.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Putain de merde.
Yeah. But
okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
But we're letting people that are pedophiles, we're letting people that have these open marriages, no offense, I mean, do what you will here in America, whatever. But we're allowing people that have zero morality, zero sense of where rights come from, zero sense of integrity, try to dictate the policies of what we should do, you know? And I always point it back to this, like, we've only had the Department of Education for 100 years or something like that. Before that, you know, we educated our kids in our town. We'd hire a teacher and we'd educate them, you know, K through 12 or whatever, till they went to the farm or whatever. And the problem is now we have people in DC telling kids in Florida how they should learn certain things. Okay. Just because we think that's the nationalized way. But the reality of the situation is, you probably have found this in your scholastic endeavors. You know, I went to a private school for college. Okay. My undergraduate is a private Christian institution. And then I went to a state school for my master's degree, and I was like, this is a layup. Holy crap. Why didn't I get this in my undergraduate? Because everything was run by the state, and the state doesn't make things great. The state makes things mediocre, and we don't do that around our table. With your kids, I guarantee you don't say, hey, son, hey, daughter, I want you to be as mediocre as humanly possible. I want you to just, you know, breathe and poo and pee and just exist, and then listen to whatever the TV tells you to do, and that's your existence in life. I highly doubt that you do that. And in good homes, I mean, again, one of the afflictions of the Black community, and not just the Black community in general, is, listen, you guys are probably sound human beings because you had a dad around. Let's get real with ourselves. Okay. Like, I don't know my biological dad, but I have a stepdad who is my dad, who is around a lot. And that changes a lot of the conversations. And we live in a society where the man is demonized, especially you straight white Christian males, you evil SOBs, for staying at home with your wives and actually raising your kids and whatever. But unfortunately for the narrative, those are the best thinking, best well-rounded human beings that are out there, not because they're white, but because daddy's home. Okay. And I can say this with the Asian community. Let's get real. They are kicking everyone's butt in America, specifically, and even better than Asians is Nigerians. That's a fun fact. And Nigerians stay together. Asians stay together. It's so weird when we stick to the original game plan, positive things happen, but you know, we got to get sweet and try to do some different things. So, but, welcome to America. This is America, baby. This is what we've run into. The hippies won.
and not the version of Welcome to America with, you know, Eddie Murphy.
No. F you. No, not that one. So cool. But yeah,
so
no, I got
you mentioned Kevin Bacon earlier, and he went through cancel culture because of his finding out what he did, which is what should have happened. And you're seeing the left get really pissed off right now because the right has figured out how to weaponize cancel culture.
Yes.
And you're seeing like a young woman who goes to Harvard crying all over TikTok today because she made a threat against All Lives Matter people, saying that she was going to stab them, and while they were bleeding out, show them a paper cut and go, my cut matters too, to try to exemplify that All Lives Matter is bullshit.
Yeah. Yep.
And then she got magically fired from her job while attending Harvard, and she's sitting there just crying all over TikTok. The conservative Republican Trump people are bad, and they got me fired. I'm like, no, bitch, your threat against people got you fired.
Yes. Because at the end of the day, I mean,
it's what got you fired.
Well, think about how we raise our kids. I mean, like straight up, like, well, here's the problem: most homes in America don't have a dad in them. And what's the best part about being a dad? Sometimes you got to be a dick. Sometimes you got to tell your kids you aren't that great and you need to take responsibility. I know my wife gets pissed when I'm tough on my daughters, but guess what? I better be tough on them now, because if I'm not, they're going to fall for some jackass later on in life. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the reality of the situation. Is we've come to a place where we've told people it's not your fault, Billy. Billy, you're the best on the planet, Billy. You're so amazing, Billy. And then when Billy gets in the real world and gets his dick kicked in, guess what? Billy cries and says, oh, it's Orange Man's fault, because that's what mommy and daddy taught him to do, instead of say, hey, gird up your loins there, kiddo, and let's go get it. Let's be the best version of yourself. You're not that special. You got to work for it. And situations wouldn't be like that. And to your point is conservatives are learning how to weaponize cancel culture, because guess what? It's karma, one. And two, you've got a Republican Party that is being that's finally just sick of the stupidity. Like, if you're going to cancel me for wanting a Betsy Ross flag on a shoe, well, then guess what, homeboy? I'm going to come at you. Yeah. I'm going to come at you ferociously. If you're going to put Kevin Spacey on a platform, tell me how amazing that guy is while he's raping 14-year-old kids, I'm going to expose that. If you're going to tell me that Jeffrey Epstein is this amazing human being, which, you know, Alex Jones was talking about 15 years ago, you're going to get called out for the stupidity. If you're going to tell me that I'm a racist, evil person, and you're calling every gas station attendant has an Indian accent, good old Joe Biden, I'm going to call you out for it. Ralph Northam, if you're going to tell me that America's this racist place, we'll start with you, KKK hood or blackface or whatever the heck you want.
So since you're from the Midwest and you're kind of a big guy, do you know who Corn Pop is?
Corn Pop, I've heard that name. Who's that?
Yeah. I mean, that's Joe Biden's buddy, right? They were going to have some fisticuffs back at the pool when, you know, because he wanted to rub Joe Biden's leg hairs.
Corn pop.
Those,
Yeah.
those blonde leg hairs Joe Biden had, and all the black kids just were mystified by his magical, translucent white leg hair.
Gosh.
And all those poor kids, they're just as good as the white kids.
And here's the funny thing is we're petty for exposing that, but Donald Trump's a racist Nazi. Like, give me a break, dude.
Do you ever watch the show Last Man Standing?
Yes.
So there was an episode where Ryan, the liberal son-in-law, he goes, "See, this is a problem with you Republicans. Y'all just got to make fun of it." And Tim Allen just turns around and looks at him and goes, "That's funny. I never noticed the size of your hands." Because at the time it was the 2016 election, and all the liberals could talk about Trump's got these small hands. It's like, what the fuck does it matter? Who gives a shit what size his hands are?
Yes.
And it's amazing how they projection anything that Biden has, they're trying to project onto Trump. Yes. So Biden, I'm not going to say he does have dementia. I'm not going to say he doesn't have dementia.
He's at least in severe mental decline.
I'll say it.
He's getting older. He's starting to, But all of a sudden now Trump has Parkinson's. Yeah.
Do you see our boy though at the deal? He's like, here you guys go. It was beautiful. You know what I mean? It was like hilarious.
I just loved him. And it was like, oh God, they're gonna have a field day with that one. For the love of...
Listen, and here's the thing you got to do with liberals is shove it right back in their face. Like, I remember there was a psychopath on TikTok that told me that I was an incel. I'm like, bro, have you watched any of my videos at all? Like, my children show up on my videos. Like, it is impossible for an incel, by the definition of whatever the frickin' incel is, to procreate. And you're calling this out. So I made a video, tagged his comment, and I'm like, did you mean does an incel? I'm about to bang my wife. Like, is that what incels do? And what's funny to me is you just got to throw this crap back in their face because, the problem is this: we've been too nice for too long. We have, out of some misguided situation. Like, no offense, the 10 Commandments does not include "Thou shalt be nice." That's not included.
Thou shalt roll over.
Yeah, thou shalt bend it over and take it. You know what I mean? That's at the end of the day.
Just remembering my father-in-law. He was at the car dealership one day, and they were talking. He works overseas, and so my mother-in-law had him on the phone, and they told him what they were going to give. He had a Cadillac CTS-V. Yeah. And they told him what they were going to give him for trade-in, and he said on speakerphone, "Oh, they're trying to fuck us in the ass," and the salesman's just sitting there going. And it was like, honey, you're on speaker. I know. Tell that jackass to stop trying to fuck me in the ass.
But yeah, I mean, it's this. I think there is a respectful way to have decorum in a political system. The problem is they threw that rule book out a long time ago, and now they're getting what they deserve. They're getting. Like, Donald Trump is the middle finger from America to the globalists and to the Republicans and Democrat establishment. It is what it is. But you've created this situation. And here's the deal. Conservatives, right-leaning people, we meme better, we make better videos, and we're more ferocious than you will ever become. At the end of the day. And we're funnier at it. That's just how it is. But
our memes are better,
They are. And they're more ferocious. But at the end of the day, you guys will disappoint us. We tried to be civil. I watched George W., lie about weapons of mass destruction, then they take it from the media for years. And then I watched Black Messiah, a.k.a. Donald, Obama, get, kid gloves all those years. What did you think was going to happen? What did you expect to come around? You're going to get people like the strong one. You're going to get people like Damian Fielder. You're going to get Kingface. You're going to get a lot of people coming at this stupidity because at the end of the day, we've been waiting for our leaders to lead and grow a pair of balls. Well, I don't have patience for that anymore. I've got girls coming through, man. They're going to be living in this country very soon. So somebody's got to have some balls and somebody's going to stand up and call this crap out.
The greatest one I love is, so right now the left is convinced that Trump allowed Putin to put bounties on U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan, which is complete bullshit, by the way.
Oh my gosh!
And they go,
I thought that died because it got proved wrong.
It has been, but there's still the Russia, the Russia hoax people, the guys that are still holding on to the PP tape. It's still true, guys. It's true. The PP tape happened, right? Trump went to Moscow and paid women to pee on him. It happened, guys. You're right. It so happened. This is that dog whistle for you guys. We're admitting to it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so now they're saying that this happened, and I love it. It's like British intelligence has confirmed it. Yeah, British intelligence confirmed the PP tape. They confirmed the dossier.
Exactly.
They also confirmed weapons of mass destruction in Iraq in 2003.
Oh,
so
crazy.
Are we saying British intelligence is the be-all, end-all of intelligence sources, guys? Because I thought you were against that whole invasion of Iraq for no real reason thing, when that was really the British intelligence that gave us all that shit.
But they have James Bond. I mean, if they've got James Bond, they know what they're talking about, right?
Well, they're after him too. Don't worry.
Oh, I know. Gosh. But anyways. But yeah, no, to me, it's very interesting. That's why I don't really claim to be a Republican or Democrat. I'll be honest with you. I'm a conservatarian type person. And at the end of the day, like, there's a lot of people deep in the swamp in there. There's a lot of people that, and recently, I don't know if you've seen any Tucker lately, but Tucker's been exposing a lot of these these Republican senators, and really exposing their stupidity, because at the end of the day, like, you got a generation that's been soft as baby crap for a long time, and now you have a resurgence because tough times make strong men, and guess what? We're in tough times. What do you think is going to happen after the faux racist war of 2020? What do you think is going to happen after, COVID, Kung Flu was supposed to kill us all? Remember, 2.2 million people were supposed to die by COVID-19, and magically that didn't work. Russia didn't work. Ukraine didn't work. What do you think is going to happen in this next election? Do you think people are going to be like, gee golly, we got dumped on for a long time by the same people who are pedophiles. I'm going to pull that lever for Joe Biden. Are you high? Do you really think that that's the culture or the climate of America right now?
Systemic racism, man. It's systemic racism. Here is the poster child for systemic racism. If you are ever going to get me to believe that there is systemic racism in this country, which I don't, that would be the guy who did it.
Yep.
The same one who marched on Selma.
Yep.
The same one who said that Barack Obama was the first ever eloquent black man he's ever met. And he actively campaigned against Clarence Thomas's wow, thanks.
Joe Biden is the one rare guy that's on
brain.
So the funny thing about Clarence Thomas is there's people who come down usually on two sides. It's Clarence Thomas because he was black, so you were racist if you went against him, or Clarence Thomas raped Anita Hill, so you're sexist if you voted for Clarence Thomas. Joe Biden is the one rare guy who got it wrong on both of those.
Yeah,
he got it wrong on Anita Hill and got it wrong on Clarence Thomas. Like, he's getting hate on both sides of this.
When has Joe Biden got it right?
Well, that's a great question. Apparently with Corn Pop.
Corn Pop.
Yeah.
No, but to systemic racism, guys, here's what I would give your audience. Here's the nuclear bomb to systemic racism. Just ask a very simple question. As a black man, what can't I do in 2020?
Yeah.
And watch the confused faces.
No, I mean,
just watch it.
It's very simple. It's like, show me the law that, because my point about systemic racism is that for a system to be racist, we're having to impute that it is capable of having a bias, which means it's conscious.
Yes.
So
and it's actively trying to stop black men, black women in America. I would like to see the legislation that in writing says that.
Yeah.
I would like to see what, as a black man, I cannot do in America in 2020. I literally watched 4 years ago a black man rise to the highest seat of power on the planet. It doesn't get higher than that. Sorry.
Oh, I got one. As a black man, you cannot say all lives matter.
I just said it. All lives matter.
Yeah, but now you're a racist. See.
Yeah. Well, according to Joe Biden, if I vote for Trump, I'm not black anyways, but that's another story.
So this is bad because you live in Florida and you're kind of mixed, so you might get George Zimmerman.
Yeah.
I mean, your last name is kind of German sounding.
Yeah, it's
I was gonna say.
I mean, you might be Zimmerman here in a second. You might just be white all of a sudden.
Hey, listen, a black white man attacked a black man. So I feel you.
So I mean, it's so ridiculous all the crap that's going on, and you point a great logic to it. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here where it's just like, I don't have time to fight this today. So luckily for me, I work in oil and gas, so I have a lot of twiddle my thumb time while out on location. So
Yeah.
I will Kyle will get on Twitter and be like, God damn, Ross, you have 150 new tweets. And it's like, yeah, because people were pissing me off on Twitter, and I'm not just, I will actively go after people with facts on Twitter. And when they say some bullshit, it's like, well, that's your opinion. Now give me the facts. My best friend, his dad used to always, the greatest line of logic he ever gave is, that's a good excuse. Now give me a reason.
100%. That's gold. It's a good excuse. Now give me a reason.
Now give me a reason. And it's like you're sitting there as a kid like.
Yep. Because here's the thing is whatever. I'm going to say this nicely. I'm not going to demonize people, but the moment that statistics walk in the door with a little bit of balls, people get quiet. Now, to be fair, there are loony lefties that get really pissed off that you're exposing the truth. But you got to be honest. Like when people say that there's police brutality, I just ask people, where is it at? We had 375 million police encounters last year. 1,000 people died from that. 235 which were black men. 225 of those black men were armed, shooting back at the cops. Out of those 225, there were 10 that were unarmed, 8 of which were justified, and 2 were not justified in the year of 2019. In both cases, when there was an unjustified black unarmed man killed, both cops are sitting in jail right now, literally. So explain that to me. Go ahead.
Before we end this stream, because we're getting up to our time limit here.
Okay, sounds good.
I got to know a couple things. Number one, max bench, max deadlift.
My best deadlift of all time is 645, which is it's okay for a fair. I should be better for a fat boy, but
you got me by 100 pounds. You got me by 100 pounds.
But 645 is my best. I don't train it that much, but that's the best I've gotten to. My best bench is 552. I'm going to be maxing out tomorrow, which I'm pretty excited about. So hopefully that goes to 565 tomorrow. But right now I'm sitting at 552.
You got me beat by a mile.
Yeah. So best incline is 510. So I'm getting there. I'm strong.
So I tell a story.
How far can you throw a log?
Huh?
How far can you throw a log?
I don't know, because I want to do the Highland Games, because the white part of me, there is some Scottish in there. So I wanted to do the caber toss and all that fun stuff. I was a thrower in college, so shot put, discus, all that fun stuff. So I've always wanted to try it.
So Kyle one day went and bought himself one of those cheapo bench sets and had it out backside of his house one day. And me and my brother-in-law, is, I think he's maybe 3.8% body fat right now.
Jeez,
I mean, he is. So he's a drill sergeant in the Army. He is as and so Kyle had, I don't know, 125 on the bar, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm getting my workout. And so I got down and did like 30 reps real quick, and then my brother-in-law gets down and he's just sitting there like, oh, we gonna go somewhere? You guys got plans for dinner? And it's like, yeah, Kyle, I don't know about your 125 here, bro.
I wasn't going for max weight. I was going for reps. So
I wasn't going for nothing. So no, I did 545 on deadlift.
Nice.
I have a plus 1,000 leg lift.
There you go.
1115. That was every weight we had in the building at the moment.
There you go.
Max bench has never been great. It's only about 295.
Hey man, it's all good.
I've always been I've been a leg guy. I've never been an upper arm guy.
Hey.
But I could clean like a son of a gun. I cleaned 315 one time, and I remember my gym teacher was just like, how the fuck did you just do that? And I was like, well, I used my legs, man.
Hey Ross, how many things of your spine have been fused together?
Not fused together, completely removed.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah. I've got a disc missing in my back, so I'm an inch and I told everybody I'm an inch and a half shorter and an inch and a half wider. That's how that works, right? I got shorter, so I got wider. That makes sense, right? Had to go somewhere, because conservation of mass, right? It's pure physics. It had to go somewhere.
That's awesome. That's great, brother.
All right, guys. Well, guys, it's 8:54. We're getting right up to that time. So, Ray, I'm going to open this opportunity for you to any topic we haven't covered tonight that you wanted to cover or we should cover, you think is important, shoot it at us. We'll give you our opinion on it as best we can.
Or a question you want to ask us.
Oh, man. Geez, oh, mama. We covered a lot of stuff, man. We ran through the whole kind of gambit of what's going on, man. But I would like to reemphasize to the this is what I would say is a touch up, especially the economic side. it's really funny to me that a couple months ago we were told that the economy would never come back and it was completely wrecked and destroyed. And shockingly, it has come back big time, record-setting numbers, and probably will swing all the way back up, especially coming into November. So at the end of the day, like, what as an economics guy, what's your projection going into November? What's your projection going in for the rest of the fiscal year? What do you think is going to rock and roll with us here in America?
So I see two things. One of two things either happening. Number one is we're already seeing the left come with it, right? It's already back to we need to lock back down. Cases are rising. We got to get everybody back in our house.
Yep.
Cases are rising, yes, but also
Deaths or not.
Deaths are staying flat, and we have more testing. So, like in Texas, in Midland, we have cases, but the cases are coming from people who are going to the hospital with other injuries, and then they're getting
COVID.
And then they also have COVID, right? So they happen to test positive. They're asymptomatic completely for COVID. They show no signs of COVID. They get in there and they've got a bum ankle or something, and then all of a sudden they're hospitalized with COVID, right? Yes, they are hospitalized with COVID, but not for COVID. So I see that the left knows that that's their Achilles heel. Now they're going to attack Trump on it's not his economy, right? We're going to hear that come back, right? It's not his economy. This is Obama's economy. And I saw an article the other day. Trump actually wasn't that good on the economy. Wages were rising from the bottom faster than wages for the top was rising. Unemployment was great, and so everybody. The funny thing about it is, unemployment's kind of a funny number because it's not really truly indicative of the economy as large. Because if you don't take it also with labor participation, then workforce participation, then it's so everybody, well, we had a very low unemployment rate under Obama. Yes, we had a very low labor participation rate too.
Yep.
So we were not counting people who just simply weren't looking for jobs anymore. We went to stagnant unemployment. Oh, these people aren't looking for jobs, so we don't count them. So all of a sudden, Obama really secretly kind of changed how the numbers were being calculated, and all of a sudden it started falling. With Trump, we saw not only did unemployment fall, but labor participation went through the roof. Yes. Everybody was getting jobs. Wages at the bottom were rising. And wages rise when labor force is scarce, right? When we as a commodity, our labor is scarce, then the price for that rises. It's a simple supply-demand curve. I can draw it for you all day long. Yep. I honestly believe, and I think without further manipulation of the market by another stimulus. We don't need another stimulus. There's no need for another stimulus. Please, for the love of God, Trump, do not do another stimulus. I know there's some independents that would love it, and there's some big bankers that would love it. Please, for the love of God, we don't need another $2 fucking trillion in debt right now. We don't need it.
Yeah.
So if Trump can get us to 6%, which I think is very viable by mid-September, early October, Trump wins in a landslide.
100%.
Right? If he allows them to shut us back down, which is what they want, again, they don't mind protesting. That, funnily enough, those protests were about 2 to 3 weeks ago, and all of a sudden the numbers in those states are going through the roof.
4 weeks ago, bro.
Well, yeah, but they haven't ended, right? Like they're still going, right? So I mean, Trump's campaign rally was a super spreader event. Going to church is a super spreader event, but going out and yelling at people in the hot ass sweat for miles and miles and miles is not a fucking super spreader event. So
no, not at all. Not at all.
The point here is that if Trump can get us back to 6%, 7 to 6% by mid-October, mid-September, people still at this moment, polls are showing that people are more confident in his ability to bring the economy back than Biden's it. And if he can show, hey, look, we built it up, we're coming on the way back, that's going to be great. We need a couple things to happen. Number one, we need oil jobs to come back. So I work in oil and gas, and I can tell you we're at 25 to 20% of our workforce right now. So we need those jobs to come back. Number two, we need to continue our populism movement in limiting our influx of labor supply. Mm-hmm. And allowing America. So Trump signed the executive orders that said, "Hey, we're going to cut H1. We're not going to approve any new H1N1 or H1B visas." Oh, we lost Ray for a second.
Sorry, can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes,
we
can
just
hear
don't
you.
see you.
Can't see you.
Yeah. Am I back?
You are back. All right.
Yeah. Sorry,
Back,
my camera decides to do that from time to time.
Again. So if we can get those things to happen, The economy will bounce back. We will get unemployment back down. Again, unemployment right now, I did a spreadsheet about 3 weeks ago, which I need to write a story. I know, Kyle, for the.
I was going to say you still have not put that on the website.
I still haven't finished it completely. So I do econometrics. I love econometrics. I love pure data, right? Unbiased data. Just taking the data, sorting it through, seeing what's what. So I took a bunch of statistics from states, from unemployment rates to per capita homeless to median income to cost of living. So then I calculated standard of living. And these are all no weighting to the averages, whatever. I just want to see where the states fell right now. And everybody's like, well, take unemployment. So I took unemployment, but I took the 2019 average because it's not fair to take April 2020 numbers because it's skewed, right?
100%.
So I can't say, well, is California actually worse or are they just more locked down right now than Texas? So we have some other numbers to enter in it, but let's put it this way. Texas blew the floor out of the West Coast states. Yep. Massachusetts, funnily enough, is number 1 right now.
Yeah.
It's funny, but you know what? It's a small state, and per capita wise, small states have an advantage in per capita numbers. But anyway, the point is that if Trump can get us to 6%, and he did it by deregulation for everybody, economy is not this magic thing where one person can create an economy and make it work, right? It's not Obama's economy. It's not Trump's economy. The only thing Trump did was he was smart enough to get the fuck out of the way. Right? Yep. And just stay the fuck out of our way. And, the whole thing with Obama is you didn't create that job. The government created that job for you. No, fuck you, dude. I built this business. I built it from the floor up. It was my blood, sweat, and tears. It was me here at 5 o'clock in the morning and me here at 10 o'clock at night figuring out how to make this shit work. What Trump said is, okay, guys, do you, boo-boo?
Yeah, 100%. 1,000%. And the Tax Cuts and Job Act. I mean, just getting did you see the picture where like the level of federal regulation, like the stack, like it was like a person high stack of paper versus what Trump was doing. And I think that people don't realize it, especially if you're not in the business world or if you don't run business or whatever. But the other thing that's magical about the magic Trump or the Obama economy that's magically happening right now, if this is Obama's economy, why didn't he do it during the 8 years he was there? 1.
Yeah.
2, he's on record literally saying that the jobs would never come back. It would require a magic wand. The jobs magically came back. That's kind of weird how it works. But now that we're reaping the success, now that there's success in America, crap, we were wrong again. I need to get a little bit of this clout that Mr. Trump has brought to the table, because at the end of the day, we all put Trump in office because he didn't give a crap and he was a businessman. And magically, he's doing exactly what we said he was going to do, which was do the things he said he was going to do, be a businessman, and not give a crap.
You really want to piss him off one day? I'll give you a stat that'll piss Democrats off more than anything. They're going to deny it. They're never going to admit to it. 2008 housing crash. Why did the 2008 housing crash happen? 1993 housing bill.
Ooh.
Wasn't
Clinton?
That was Clinton. That was Clinton and Biden, baby.
What?
Yeah. So the thing about economics is like what I truly believe is everybody goes to college and they take that one micro class because macro's hard, right? So nobody takes macro. Everybody takes micro and this is how it happens in one market. And okay, that's great. Fine. Okay, you understand a basic supply demand curve, but that has nothing to do with reality, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Macro is what deals in reality, right? Yes. Micro gives you the basic, gives you the understanding of those things, but macro is where things happen. The other thing is economics is not short term. It's a long-term thing. And most government policies take about 10 to 15 years to fully swing into effect. And if I took 2008 from 1993, there's a funny amount of time that happened between those two. What happened in 2008 was literally created in George Bush created the subprime lending market. The fuck he did. Bill Clinton created the subprime lending market because Bill Clinton told banks that, and here's how they did it. It's a sneaky little way. So the Federal Reserve requires banks to carry 10% in their bank, right? 10% of anything loaned out has to be in the vault. What they did is they said, well, if you give a few of these subprime loans, we'll cut you down to 7.5%.
Yeah.
And you say, oh, well, that's not that much. But when you're talking about a bank that's got $200 million in the bank, that means they can loan out $2 billion. So if I cut that down to 7.5, that now means they can loan out $3 billion.
Yep.
Right? So all of a sudden, they can take on some bad debt. because they're going to make enough money off some more good debt, the new good debt they can come out with, that the bad debt doesn't matter. And then because we created the Fannie Mae and the Freddie Mac, well, shit, if we have bad debt, we just sell it off to the government and let the fucking taxpayer deal with it. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe fucking Biden.
Yeah, 100%. But hey, listen, he's been there 43 years and he's really made a huge impact. But Trump being there for 3 years just completely decimated everything, right?
That's it, man.
Everything
they built up over the years has suddenly vanished.
It's crazy how it works, man.
They added it up for Maxine Waters, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Nadler, and Schiff. They have been in Congress more years than the United States has been existing.
But hey, man, you straight white males, you Christian males, you're the problem.
Us bastards.
The religion.
All right. So, guys, Ray, I want to appreciate it, and Kyle, we always, we love having guests on. We want to tell you that Monday nights we do our panel nights, so sometimes we'll bring people in for panels. We do our normal shows, just usually me and Kyle, but we'll bring people in on a topic for 10-15 minutes. So we'd love to invite you. You have an open invitation. If there's a topic you ever want to talk about, send us an email, send us a message, and we will figure out how to get you on to talk about it, because it's been a great conversation. Kyle, for you, buddy, what's up?
Not much, man. We're just having fun over here and loving life and getting things done, even though College Station and Brian both enacted damn mask ordinances, but don't go out of the house. Don't got to worry about it.
So I think we got to get Ray. We got to mail him a sticker so he can put it on the back of that Liberal Logic mug. He can put an SBU sticker on the. Yeah, there you go.
Right on the back.
There you go.
There you go.
I've got room.
So Ray, thank you so much for coming on tonight. For anybody who's new to our channel, if you're one of Ray's fans and you came over for us to watch this, please hit the like and subscribe button. Please, give us a big thumbs up. Let us know that you like what we're doing. We put a lot of work into this content, and hopefully you enjoy what we're doing. Hopefully you can see the production quality that has all of a sudden gotten a lot better now that I have a functioning computer. But other than that, we're
Thanks,
still
Dale.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. So Ray, I'll tell you that story real quick, Ray. I was bitching and moaning about how long Dell was taking to ship me my computer, and I said it on a show, and literally that night I get an email from Dell. Your unit is shipped and will be there in 2 days. I was like, is somebody from Dell watching my show?
Of course they are.
Well, maybe somebody. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming on tonight, Ray. Thank you so much for talking with us. It was a great time. I enjoyed it so much. Unfortunately, if I go any longer, I will not have a wife anymore. So, I better cut it loose, because I do have 5 kids that probably need to be wrangled into their beds at some point in time. So thank you so much, guys. Everybody who came to the show, thank you so much for watching. Anybody who watches watches in the future, thank you again. And please do subscribe. Please do hit the like button. Let Ray go follow Ray on TikTok if you want to be followed by the Chinese government, and let them know where you are at all times. Go join Ray on TikTok. Great content over there. Ray, where else can they find you?
They can find me everywhere, man. I'm on Instagram, on TikTok. The Plausible Foolishness is my podcast I do every Wednesday night on twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness. That's twitch.tv/Plausible Foolishness. You can go to rayweisenbarger.com, where you can get your merch if you want to get the mugs. People are digging the Liberal Logic mug a lot. And if you want to read my books, they're on Amazon.com, Defiant by Definition and I Will Rule. So take a look, take a read. I keep things cheap. I'm not looking to make a bunch of money, because that's not why I do things. I do things to improve people's lives and have a positive impact. But thank you guys again for letting me be on the show, and it's been a blast, man. I appreciate you.
And all those links, guys, so all the TikTok, Twitter is down in the description of the video, and we'll get all those other links put in there too coming up. So we'll make sure that all those links are in the description to the video, and that you'll be able to find Ray wherever you need to find him, so that you can do whatever you want. Ray, we'll get your address. We'll get you a sticker in the mail. Everybody else, thank you so much for listening to us tonight. God bless you all. Good night.
Thanks, and gig 'em, and God bless.
I just keep calling on the help of my peers, but their success makes me distressed. Things will be better when I disappear, bouncing from city to state. Nothing feels great, I'm a committed disgrace. If I could get up, hold my chin up, confidence is just a bluff for the weak. Might take a peek in my self-pity to realize it's selfishness for the meek. Just take these pills and makes it better, but withdrawals will make you seize up and tweak. You gotta buy it every month. We change the brand, it's more expensive this week. I'll hold my chin up.